Mic check one. Mic check 1, 2. Check. Check. Mic check. Check. Check.
That we are going to take home. Father, we bless your name. We thank you for the gown and the town. Lord, we thank you for the Vice Chancellor. We thank you for members of Senate, the staff. We thank you for our students. We thank you, O God, for all the things you have done for University of Uyo in this season. We'll continue to give you thanks. We ask this moment, O God, that you superintend over this lecture, over the atmosphere. For those that are on their way coming, we ask for journey mercies, that you bring them here safely. Thank you for your faithfulness. We worship you. We bless your name. All these and many more we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please sit. Let me request that the ushers will guide members of the audience to sit well. We have this row for Senate members, this other row for the audience, that other row for the audience, and special groups invited to this occasion. Let me assure us that the hall will not be in this form for long. Members of the university from the town campus are making their way down to this place after the just concluded meeting, interactive session they had with the Vice Chancellor. So please, ushers, as people come, direct them to sit at where they should sit. The Vice Chancellor and Chairman of this occasion, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, Administration and Academic, the Registrar and Secretary to Senate, University of Uyo, the University Bursar in absentia, the Acting University Librarian here present, the inaugural lecturer, the Dean Faculty of Social Sciences, the inaugural lecturer presenter, the Provost of the College of Health Sciences, the Chairman, Committee of Deans, University of Uyo, the Dean of Postgraduate School, Faculties, and Student Affairs, all professors and permanent members of the University Senate, the Director of Academic Affairs, and Directors of Schools, Institutes, and Administrative Directorates, the Deputy Registrar and Head Senate Unit, all heads of academic and administrative departments and units, statesmen and diplomats here present, elders, community leaders, politicians, businessmen and captains of industries, members of academic and business professional organizations, my Lord, spiritual and temporal, members of the military and paramilitary organizations here present, leaders of staff unions of universities, ASU, SANU, NAT, and NASU, the Student Union President, staff, and other students of the University of Uyo here present, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today is another historic day in the life of the University of Uyo. We are here gathered for a special and academic event called Inaugural Lecture. And for this university, we are hosting the 122nd Inaugural Lecture. It's to be presented by Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye. And the topic is Themes of Thanatos in a Fragile Society, the Behavioral Doctor as an Underleveraged Tonic. Professor Gboyega is a professor of clinical psychology, Department of Psychology, Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Uyo. The event will follow our structured programs we have in our hand. And at the moment, following the program, we are at what I will call item number 5. At this point, the chairman of the occasion, the vice chancellor of this university, will make remarks on this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to tell you a little about this vice chancellor. That the University of Uyo is lucky for the first time in history to have an alumnus becoming the vice chancellor. And that alumnus is the sitting vice chancellor. This vice chancellor is a first-class vice chancellor. He made a first class from this university. This vice chancellor has been leading this university in the last almost 5 years. And this is the penultimate inaugural lecture he will chair as far as his tenure is concerned. And this is very, very important and historic. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, may I invite our dear Vice Chancellor and Chairman of this occasion, Professor Nyaudoh Ndaeyo, for his remarks. The Vice Chancellor, sir.
Thank you very much, the University of Uyo, for always being there for us. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, let me through you acknowledge the management staff of our great university, the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences. I know today is your day. The inaugural lecturer presenter, my brother, Professor Fong. And the real owner of the day, the inaugural lecturer. Through you, I have seen a lot of UIs around here. That means you are really very great. The chairman, committee of deans, and all others, provost, let me please adopt and stand on the existing protocol because of time. My responsibility this afternoon is simply to tell you welcome. And so I say welcome to you all. It is really a thing of joy, and we are delighted to have the town be part of our bi-weekly TONIC, which has to do with the inaugural lecture. Like I always said, inaugural lecture has a very conspicuous place in the calendar of University of Uyo because of the value we attach to it. And today, the 13th day of November 2025, is set aside for 122nd inaugural lecture. And the theme or the topic of the inaugural lecture is Themes of THANATOS in a Fragile Society. The behavior doctors as an underleveraged tonic. I did say the other day that I don't know what it means. Whether it has to do with biology or chemistry or physics. But I know that there will be element of social science in this matter. So the person God has given that responsibility to discharge this function of lecturing us today is a 122nd inaugural lecturer. He's a seasoned professor, a professor of note, a man who has done his all in his own area of discipline. He is Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye. He's a product of University of Ibadan from I see here. He had all his degrees from the beginning to the end from University of Ibadan. He is a professor of clinical psychology. And he's of the Department of Psychology of the Faculty of Social Science of our great university, the University of Uyo. So my responsibility, like I said, is to tell you welcome. And the man is even ordering me, say I should stop there so that he will come and tell us his content after now. So I welcome you and encourage you to please sit, relax, enjoy yourself. At the end of the day, I believe strongly that you will leave this place better than the way you came in. Thank you and welcome.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, truly the Vice Chancellor's words are inspiring. Can we please celebrate him one more time? Thank you and thanks so very much. The Vice Chancellors are very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My pleasure to invite the one who will take us to the business of the day. I'm talking about the 122nd Inaugural Lecturer, himself a professor of rural sociology. Very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make welcome Professor Sunday Edem Ofong, the 122nd Inaugural Lecturer presenter. Please celebrate him. He's coming to introduce the inaugural lecturer. Thank you, sir.
Vice Chancellor, sir, and the chairman on this occasion, with your management team, the dean, provost, senate members, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to present the 122nd inaugural lecturer in the person of Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye. Can you rise to your feet? Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I am as curious as anybody to understand what the team stand to offer. THANATOS in a fragile society, the behavior doctor as an underleveraged tonic. I want to know what that tonic is all about as I present the inaugural lecturer. Birth and early life of Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye, the 122nd inaugural lecturer of this great university. On the 2nd day of April, 1969, the late Prince Adewole, James and late Olori Olawumi Juliana Abikoye of Oke Afin, Ora Ibomino, the federal local government area of Osun State, witnessed the arrival of their first son and second child in the family. Birth and early life. That young prince, born 56 years ago, is a professor of clinical psychology, standing before you today as the 122nd inaugural lecturer of the University of Uyo and the first inaugural lecturer from the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo. Today's inaugural lecturer attended the famous St. Stephen's Anglican Primary School from 1975 to 1981. He proceeded to Ora Grammar School from 1981 to 1986 for his secondary education. He had his tertiary education in University of Ibadan, BSc Psychology, 1994 to 1999, MSc Clinical Psychology, distinction between 2000 and 2002, PhD Clinical Psychology, 2003 to 2009. He graduated with distinction and as the best MSc graduate at the departmental, faculty, and university-wide levels in 2002. He also won the Federal Government Postgraduate Scholarship Award, 2002. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in recognition of his exceptional performance, the department recommended him to the postgraduate school of the University of Ibadan for automatic admission for the PhD in clinical psychology. The 122nd inaugural lecturer of today got admitted into the PhD program of University of Ibadan in 2003 without obtaining or submitting an application form. Career trajectory of the inaugural lecturer of today. Medicine Sans Frontières, Holland. Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye. As assistant lecturer, 2003 to 2006. Lecturer 2, 2006-2009. Lecturer 1, 2009 and 2011. Niger Delta University, Wilberforce Island, senior lecturer between 2011 and 2014. University of Uyo, associate professor in 2015 and full professor in 2018. Administrative experience. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. The 122nd inaugural lecturer standing before you, in person of Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye, became acting head, Department of Clinical Psychology, Niger Delta University, Wilberforce Island, Bayelsa State, between 2011 and 2014. Acting head, Department of Psychology, University of Uyo, between 2015 and 2019. Vice Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Uyo, 2016-2017. Director, Directorate of Academic Planning, University of Uyo, 2025. At various times, examinations officer, postgraduate coordinator, undergraduate coordinator, clinical practicum coordinator, student staff advisor, and others. The list is inexhaustible. University milestones. Pioneer academic staff, Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye, Ogun State. Pioneer academic staff, Department of Clinical Psychology, Niger Delta University, Wilberforce Island, Bayelsa State. He hosted the Carnegie Diaspora Fellow, Professor James Gay of the Virginia Military Institute, USA, in the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo, in 2015. He organized the first university guest lecture in the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo, in 2015. He spearheaded the development, approval, and successful takeoff of the PG programs in psychology, MSc, and PhD in clinical, industrial, and social psychology in University of Uyo. He led the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo, to attain full NUC accreditation status in 2017. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, service to other universities by the inaugural lecturer, Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye. Sabbatical, adjunct, and visiting appointment, Lagos State University, LASU, Ojo, Ekiti State University, EXU, Ado Ekiti, Redeemers University, Redemption City, Covenant University, Ota. Served as professorial external assessor to several universities in Nigeria and abroad. Senior member in 3 Nigerian universities, University of Uyo, 2015 to 2019, 2023 to date. Covenant University, Ota, May 2021 to 2022. Niger Delta University, Wilberforce Island, 2011 to 2014. Currently, external examiner to Nile University of Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria. Enugu State University of Science and Technology, Enugu. University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, Umuagu, Imo State. Benue State University, Makurdi. National Defense Academy, Karuna. Lagos State University, Ojo. Lead City University, Ibadan. Redeemers University, Ede. Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. University of Ibadan. Ibadan, University of Forte, South Africa. Publications of the 122nd inaugural lecturer, Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye. Supervision and editorial responsibilities. 1. Professor Abikoye has published more than 140 articles in reputable national and international outlets. He has successfully supervised 12 PhD theses and 38 MSc dissertations. He had served on the editorial board of several national and international journals, such as Nigerian Journal of Clinical Psychology, editor between 2010 and 2018, and editor-in-chief 2019 to 2021. Nigerian Psychological Research Pioneer Editor 2013 to 2017, African Journal of Drugs and Alcohol Studies West African Regional Editor 2018 to date. A reviewer of numerous reputable journals. Grant and consultancy. Recipient of grants from United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, International Organization for Migration, TETFund, National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, Ibom Society, KBS. And the list is inexhaustive. National assignment. National Master Trainer on the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Clinton Health Action Initiatives, MH Gap Intervention, 2024 to date. Member, Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Task Force on Decriminalization of Attempted Suicide in Nigeria, 2024 to date. Member, National Technical Committee on the First National Drug Use Survey between 2015 and 2018. Member, National Technical Committee on the Second National Drug Use Survey, 2024 to date. My Vice Chancellor, sir, membership of Learned Societies of the 122nd Inaugural Lecture, standing before you, Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye, Nigerian Psychological Association, MPA, Nigerian Association of Clinical Psychologists, American Psychological Association, the National Society of Substance Use Professionals, ISUP, Australian Center on Quality of Life, Center for Research and Information on Substance Abuse, CRISA. Community service of the inaugural lecture of today standing before you. Non-Executive Director at Landmark Psychological Services Limited, Deputy Director, Research at Center for Research and Information on Substance Abuse, CRISA, member of the Board of Trustees of My Space, My Time, MSMT. Member of the Board of Trustees, International Society of Substance Use Prevention and Treatment Professionals, ISUP, Nigerian Chapter. Member of the Board of Trustees, Mind Renewal and Behavioral Healthcare Foundation. Award and recognition. Fellow, Nigerian Psychological Association 2016, Fellow, Nigerian Association of Clinical Psychologists, 2019, Postdoctoral Fellow, Northwest University, South Africa, 2013, serial winner of Lecturer of the Year and Distinguished Service Award. Immediate past National President, Nigerian Association of Clinical Psychologists. My Vice Chancellor, sir, and your management team, the inaugural 122nd Inaugural Lecturer, standing before you, personality and legacy, often described as a complete package. Our inaugural lecturer is often described as a complete package. Erudite scholar, focused academic, is not always distracted, seasoned administrator, effective practitioner, passionate advocate, a good family man, reputed for industry, empathy, selflessness, humility, and open-mindedness. I thought great Nigerian students would clap for this erudite scholar. Family life and religious orientation. Second of his parents, 6 children, 3 males, 3 females. He is married to Tutu, and the marriage is blessed with 3 adorable children, Tun, Tola, and Tony. Professor Abikoye is a Christian and an active member of the Church of Nigeria, Anglican Communion. He's not only dwelling in academics, he's also a divinely packaged personality. Professor Abikoye, a man of many firsts. He's always the first to start, always the first to begin. He supervised the first PhD and first MSc degrees produced in the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo. First tenured staff in the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo, to be appointed acting head of department. First from the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo, to be appointed Vice Dean of Social Sciences. First from the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo, to be promoted to the rank of Associate Professor. A man of first reputation. First from the Department of Psychology, the first inaugural lecturer from the Department of Psychology, University of Uyo. Mr. Vice Chancellor and Chairman of this occasion, Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye, the 122nd Inaugural Lecture of the University of Uyo, is set to present his lecture to this distinguished audience on the topic, Themes of THANATOS in a Fragile Society, the behavior doctor as an underleveraged tonic. Please sit back, listen, understand, unravel as he unveils. Learn from this distinguished scholar and practitioner of clinical psychology.
My dear Vice Chancellor, sir, and the chairman of this occasion, please allow me, sir, to stand on protocols already established. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to present the 122nd Inaugural Lecture of this university. I want to start on a note of appreciation, and I want to start by appreciating the university, the management team ably led by our dear Vice Chancellor, the God-sent Vice Chancellor, for giving me this exalted platform to tell my story. The story of my foray into psychology, which started 31 years ago. I thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for allowing me this exalted platform to tell the story of my sojourn in psychology. I want to start by acknowledging my parents, the late Prince Adewale Abikoye and the late Olori Olaomi Junior Lambikoye, for the good upbringings and for all the values and virtues they have imparted in me and my siblings. Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing before you today because I've been taught and mentored by the very best, and I can say that very confidently. I therefore owe a debt of gratitude to my teachers at the primary, at the secondary, and especially at the tertiary institutions who taught me and taught me well by the grace of God. My teachers, some of them are here. Some of my teachers and mentors are here. I will acknowledge them in due course. I thank God for blessing me with exceptional mentors like Professor Silas Obot, Isidot Obot. I thought he's here, but he's on his way. It was Professor Obot. It was under him, under his tutelage, I drew my inspiration for and cut my teeth in addiction research. So I thank Professor Obot and his wife for the huge impact they have made in my life. Professor Obot was also instrumental to my joining the University of Uyo. He persuaded me, and today I stand before you without any regrets whatsoever. So, Prof, I thank you very profusely. Professor Helen Okeafe Oshinowo is a teacher, is a mother, and a mentor indeed. Prof is hereby. This formidable woman, Mr. Chairman, supervised my first degree, my BSc. She also supervised my MSc and co-supervised my PhD, and has not left me ever since. She has continued to mentor me. My dear Vice Chancellor, Professor Oshinowo still sends me a recharge card. She still sends a recharge check to me to tell you the kind of woman she is. And despite my protestation that she should not come, she insisted that she must be here, and she's here today. I appreciate you, Mommy. In her and her late husband, may his soul rest in peace. He passed on a few months ago. He would have been here today. I found in both of them uncommon and ever-present mentors, pillars, and destiny helpers. Thank you. God will bless you, Mommy. I also appreciate the roles of numerous other mentors and senior colleagues outside of University of Uyo. I cannot mention them one by one, but I've listed some of them there. And I cannot but again acknowledge the roles of the present Vice Chancellor and other past Vice Chancellors of these great universities in making the University of Uyo to be the global brand that it is today. I appreciate you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, and all the previous Vice Chancellors before you for the great impact you have made. My deep appreciation to our former Vice Chancellor, the Emeritus Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo, who established the Department of Psychology in his university. It was Professor Ekpo who felt, and rightly so, that the university in general and the Faculty of Social Sciences was not complete without a Department of Psychology. And he took the giant initiative to establish our department. And without that singular act today, I probably will not be standing here to address this distinguished audience today. So I thank Professor Ekpo for his well-thought action. I will forever remember the kindness of Professor Comfort Ekpo, our former Vice Chancellor. She was the Vice Chancellor under whom I was employed in the University of Uyo. Not only that, she announced my promotion to the rank of Associate Professor and appointed me Head of Psychology. Thank you, Prof. And again, to our very amiable and God-sent Vice Chancellor, Professor Nyaudoh, Ndaeyo, I'm very grateful, sir, for your act of kindness, not only to me, but to numerous others. How you have wiped away tears off many faces. History will always remember you for good, my Vice Chancellor. Thank you. Not only that, it was Professor Ndaeyo who announced me as Professor of Clinical Psychology in University of Uyo. He also graciously released me to proceed on sabbatical leave in 2021. And very recently, he appointed me Director of Academic Planning of this great university. Thank you, my VC. I thank our able Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration, and Deputy Vice Chancellor Admin, who is a very senior and distinguished friend. Thank you, sister. Thank you, our dear Vice Chancellor. I do not take your advice, your encouragement, and your support for granted. I also want to sincerely thank our Registrar, Mrs. Blossom Okori. She's always with that smile. Even when under serious tension, she will attend to you very, very well without showing any. She's a thorough professional. Thank you, my Registrar. And of course, my Dean, my able Dean, Professor Anekan Bram, Dean of Social Sciences. Thank you, sir, my Dean, for your immense support. He told me when the date of my inaugural lecture was announced that, no, this is not going to be a departmental affair. It's going to be a faculty affair. And he has done everything within his power to make sure that he mobilized the faculty behind me. Thank you, my Dean. Immense thanks go to Professor Imon Upon, who was Dean when I was employed in the university. Other colleagues in the faculty and in the department, I acknowledge all of you. I cannot but mention my head of department, Dr. Mfon Efyong Ineme. He's a young man, but he has handled that department with so much maturity and wisdom. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for the wise decision of appointing him head of the Department of Psychology. Thank you, my HOD. And other colleagues in the department, I appreciate you all for all the support. I must not fail to mention very distinguished senior friends and colleagues in the Faculty of the Social Sciences. They are listed. I don't want to go through, I don't want to bore you by reading all of them one after the other. And in a very special way, I'd like to appreciate the immense support and encouragement of my dear indefatigable Ibom and leader, Professor Isaac Ayandele of the Faculty of Management Sciences. Thank you, Prof, for all the support. I also acknowledge the roles of other very senior and distinguished friends in the university, especially the Dean of my dear Vice Chancellor, the Dean of Agric, and all the other very good friends in the university for their encouragement and for their support. I appreciate the immediate past Vice Chancellor of Covenant University. He's not here, but my story is not complete without him. It was him who first pronounced me professor in 2021, even when the report of my external assessment was still being awaited after so many years in University of Uyo. I applied for a sabbatical appointment there, and he took a look at my CV, and he said, why? I said, well, the reports are coming. And they did their own internal assessment, and he pronounced me, even when I was still here as an associate professor. And when I was coming back, there was nothing the Covenant University did not do to keep me back. And some of them say, oh, you have been answering professor, will you go back to UniUyo and start answering doctor again? I said, I gave my word to my university that I was coming back. I will go back. And I thank my Vice Chancellor that he did not make me to regret that decision. Thank you, sir. Special thanks to the Vice Chancellor of Richmond University. He's seated here. He's a very good friend, a very senior friend, and he's a son of the soil. He's an Akwa Ibomite. He was the Dean of School of Postgraduate Studies when I was there on sabbatical, and we gelled very well. He was a very formidable source of support and encouragement to me. And by the grace of God today, he's the Vice Chancellor of Richmond University, Kodekpene, and he's here in person. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, sir. I especially acknowledge the love and support of His Lordship, the Honorable Justice John Iyan and Mrs. Dorothy John Okoro of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Thank you. Immense thanks go to my beloved brother, friend, and pastor, Dr. Venerable and Mrs. Ime Such-Sex Akpabio. Thank you, sir, my daddy in the Lord. I appreciate you. Other colleagues from all over the world, I thank all of them for what they have, the roles they have played. And to all my students at all levels, undergraduate, postgraduate levels, and especially my mentees and academic children, they are too numerous to be mentioned. But I thank you, and you know that I love you all. That you know. Thank you. Thank you for always supporting me. I wish to thank my other professional colleagues at the various professional bodies that I belong to, and my friends in other places. And particularly, I cannot go without mentioning the 122nd Inaugural Lecture Planning Committee, which membership was drawn across various departments and faculties and units in the university. Thank you for the tremendous support and the love that you have shown me, ably led by our own Dr. Otuesen. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, members of the planning committee. To my siblings, I say thank you, led by His Royal Majesty, Oba Johnson Adekami Abikoye. For certain reasons, he could not be here today for reasons that I don't want to share here. But I appreciate him and my other siblings and my cousins, all of them. I appreciate them all. And to finally, to my immediate family, I thank my children, Tom, Tola, and Tony, for the love they have shown me and for being a source of blessing and joy. Thank you, children. Thank you. And to my wife, Olori Dokas Abikoye Adetutu, she's a special breed, a virtuous woman, a wife like no other. She is a stabilizer during vicissitude and a source of immense support. Sit down. She's a good wife to me and a good mother to her beautiful children. And I thank her for tolerating my excesses and shortcomings. Thank you, madam. Now, my dear Vice Chancellor, thank you for allowing me to run through the acknowledgements. Now to the topic of today. Many people have asked me, what is this your THANATOS all about? You are going to know what it is all about now. But before I do that, let me tell you that my sojourn into psychology has not been a smooth sail. It has not been a very smooth one. Right from the primary school days, being a precocious child, I attempted to join much older kings to enter primary one in 1974. I know that many of you did that test, that hand over head test. I believe many of us did that. That was my first failure. At age 5, I attempted to enter primary 1, but they subjected me to that test. I don't know how our fathers did that, how they discovered that if you are not up to 6 years, your hand will not touch your hair here, your hair. I don't know, maybe it is touching now, but in our own time, no matter how hard you try, if you try to do this, it will not touch this other hair. So I was subjected to that, and I failed the test, and I was sent back home. I cried and cried and cried, but then there was nothing I could do. So that was the first failure, but I wasn't deterred by that. I went on to become what God destined me to become. Thank God for the influence of my father and my siblings who exposed me early and who emphasized the importance of education. Also, another failure was after my secondary school when I faced an 8-year waiting period, during which I wrote JAMB 7 times, 7 consecutive times. I was passing, but somehow, no admission. It's either I was choosing wrongly or something or the other will go wrong. 7 consecutive times. And it was only at the 7th time of asking, when I chose psychology, that God said, yes, it is time. And I thank God for making me to learn through that hard way. I don't know what I would have become today if I had chosen something else. So I thank God for making me to choose psychology. And in the course of my 23 years of professional work in clinical psychology, in teaching, in practice, in research and advocacy, and through the examination of empirical and theoretical literature in psychology, I discussed one troubling phenomenon, and that is the theme of THANATOS. THANATOS is a psychoanalytic term which refers to death wish. Death wish. And the question that lingers in my heart is that why do people want to self-destruct? Why is it that people always tend towards death? It's a paradoxical phenomenon. In one breath, we don't want to die. But on the other hand, we do the very things that will kill us. That is the whole concept of THANATOS. It is death wish among human beings. As we go on, you will see why I said that it's a common human phenomenon. And it is universal. But unfortunately, nowhere is it legendary, this tendency. I've not seen any climb in which such a phenomenon is as legendary as in Nigeria. We tend to have a special fascination towards THANATOS, and it's rather unfortunate. And the kernel of my lecture is that having this theme of THANATOS is not the end of story. It's not the end of the story. We have a solution if we are willing to explore this solution. And that's why I'm bringing psychology to you, ladies and gentlemen, that psychology can help explain and solve this problem of self-destructive tendency, self-annihilative tendency in human beings, especially in our country, Nigeria. According to Sigmund Freud, there are 2 basic instincts of life, the life instinct and the death instinct. But in most cases, the death instinct overshadows the life instinct. Let me also mention, Mr. Chairman, sir, that Sigmund Freud conceived this idea precisely 129 years ago. But by the time Sigmund Freud conceived this idea, he never knew the extent of the problem. He never knew that the problem will assume the dimension that it is today. At the time Sigmund Freud conceived this idea, we didn't have atomic bombs. We didn't have nuclear bombs. Hiroshima and Nagasaki had not happened, where the first atomic bomb were used that killed people and every living thing. All those things have not happened. The First World War and the Second World had not happened. So somehow I feel that Sigmund Freud was prophetic by foreseeing this. Now, today, what Sigmund Freud foresaw was a child play compared to what we have in our hands today. Proliferation of arms, people, countries trying to compete in who can destroy the world faster and more effectively than the others. Today, Russia and America possess weapons that can wipe up the entire universe in few minutes, if not in seconds. These are all manifestations of THANATOS, all in the name of national interest. We keep doing things that can kill us. That is the whole essence of THANATOS, and we need to do something about it. Now, THANATOS refers to man's proclivity to self-destruct or self-annihilate. It is humanity's complex and paradoxical fascination with death. And although there are various manifestations of it, I'm just going to give us about 6 here. I know many of us, especially the young ones, may want to disagree with me, but if you think deeply about it, we agree that these are things that are likely to kill us, either as an individual or as a corporate entity. Many of us, we are more concerned with those more pronounced killers, and we ignore the benign ones, the insidious ones. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that it is those benign ones, those ones that you overlook, that are more likely to kill you. And that's the kernel of this lecture. So the 6 that I'm going to focus on for now, there are numerous others, but the 6 that I'm going to focus on here are failure of the agent of socialization, substance use and addiction, corruption, violence, mass emigration, which you call the Japa syndrome, and work-life imbalance and stress. These are the 6 themes of THANATOS that I'm going to present today. Many of you will be wondering why this should warrant being labeled themes of THANATOS. But I tell you, these are great killers. It is now known that the chief killers in the world are behaviorally oriented. This is empirical. Things that have to do with behavior, attitudes, and so forth, they are more likely to kill you than all those big ones that we are commonly afraid of. Behavior, bad behavior, or maladaptive behavior is the chief killer in the world today. And this is supported by empirical evidence universally. But unfortunately, the average man or woman is more afraid of those big ones, cancer, HIV, and the rest of them. I'm not trying to water down the impact of those ones. But what I'm saying is that these more insidious ones are even the mothers or fathers of those ones that we dread so much. But unfortunately, the average person does not pay attention to this one. So the first one is the breakdown of the social institutions. Social institutions like the family, the school system, the mass media, religion, and other social institutions. They have totally broken down in Nigeria today. And that's one of the reasons we are in the rut that we are in today. The family is no longer playing the role the family should play. The school has abdicated its role in most cases. The mass media is another thing entirely. For most of the mass media, especially the social media, today bad news is the news that sells very well, and they emphasize that, whether correctly or not correctly. So the role of orienting the people to be more robust citizens have been abdicated by all the various agents of socialization. And that is, if that tendency is not controlled, is capable of killing us. Is a death wish. Is a death wish. Indirect and insidious. Unfortunately, we are not realizing it, but it's a very big problem if we continue with that trend. The second one is substance use and addiction. It is a big problem. But unfortunately, maybe because it has not happened to you, you don't tend to see it as a problem. But I tell you, it's a very big problem, and it's an increasing problem. Today, Nigeria's, in terms of epidemiological statistics, Nigeria's drug use statistics is about times 3 of the global average. Globally, about 6 out of every 100 individuals abuse drugs. And when we say drugs, we are not talking about tobacco or alcohol. Those ones have been excluded. We are talking about more damaging drugs. About approximately 6 out of every 100. But in Nigeria, what is the situation? 14.4. That is the situation we are in today. About 14 out of every 100 Nigeria is having drug-related problem. It's a global phenomenon, but it is more problematic in Nigeria. And there are various social, economic, and health-related consequences of drug use. I will not bore you by listing all of these, but for those of you who have the lecture, you will see some of these highlighted there. Another theme of THANATOS is corruption, and it is defined as an abuse of entrusted power for private gain, with ripple effect across all sectors. Many of us don't realize the damaging effect of corruption. We just explain it away. We have even come to a stage that we have seen corruption as it is the turn of that person today, it will be my turn tomorrow. So we don't seem to see it as a problem. But I tell you, like one president said, I don't know if he meant it or not, but a former president of Nigeria said it. He said, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us. He probably did not know the gravity of the statement he made. But I tell you, that statement is valid, is correct. If we don't kill corruption, corruption is capable of killing all of us. Because corruption compromises the thing that should enhance our well-being. So when we don't tackle corruption, ultimately, we are all going to be in problem. And because of time, I leave the explanation. Another one is violence. And you will agree with me that violence has become more or less the order of the day in Nigeria today, unfortunately. From one form of violence to another, we appear to be so good in naming them, in giving them different names. Banditry, we evolve different names for the various forms of violence. But the fact is that we have a very big problem in our hand today that is killing us and that is likely to kill us even more if we allow it to fester. Then coming to mass immigration, I know many, especially our young ones, may not like this. Everybody wants to japa, everybody wants to travel abroad. I'm not saying that traveling abroad is bad. If there's a clear pathway to success, or if you have a clear trajectory of what you are going to do out there, but to just move like that without any clear pathway, it is not healthy. And it may also be argued, and rightly so, that Nigeria is not the leader as far as mass immigration is concerned. There are countries who migrate en masse more than Nigeria. We have China and India. They are the leaders as far as migration is concerned globally. But the funny thing with Nigeria is that why those other countries ship their unskilled or semi-skilled laborers, why they allow them to go if they want to go. In Nigeria, the reverse is the case. We bleed our own very best and brightest. We lose them to the outside world. And if we continue that way, it will get to a situation where we will not have doctors to treat us. And the situation is almost at hand now, where we won't have engineers and other people that will handle our affairs. So that is the main problem with mass immigration in Nigeria. And the last one, the last of the 6 themes of THANATOS that I want to emphasize is work-life imbalance and stress. These two go hand in hand. Yes, work is good. Among other things, most people are defined by their jobs, by their job titles. It's not uncommon to say, oh, that man, even people who don't know your name, they say he's a professor, he works in UNIU, is this, is that. So we are described by our jobs. So jobs are a very essential part of life, and we should put everything into doing it well. But we should also know how to draw a healthy line between work and private life. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have that capacity in Nigeria. Sorry, Mr. Vice Chancellor. I'm aware that Mr. Vice Chancellor does a lot of work at home. And that applies to all of us too. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I'm advocating that we know that you have the love of our university at heart and you want to get everything done. But we love you. And for your health and the rest of us, I am advocating that we should minimize the extent to which we allow work to encroach into our private lives. Because it may not kill you immediately. It's an insidious thing. It's something that creeps over time. That's why we don't realize it. And that's why we see people dropping dead in this university. We've had cases of people dying in their offices. The build-up did not happen in one day. It's a build-up. It gets to a certain level that the body says, no, I've had enough, and then gives way. I pray that will not be the lot of any one of us. So let's learn how to draw the boundary between work and life. Let's have family life. Let's have life outside of work. Let's engage in leisures. Let's engage in hobbies. In Nigeria, we don't have hobbies. We like to watch the Premiership, and we see field stadia. But in Nigeria, how many of us even go out there to watch football weekend? Maybe when Nigeria is playing, few of us. Those things are helpful. They enable you to take care of the stress, the wear and tears of every day. So they are very good. So let's engage in hobbies and activities outside our work. And unfortunately, technology and competition has blurred the boundaries between work and home. And this has made it possible to work from home. In those days, it was almost impossible to work from home. But now, with your computer, with your smartphones, you can work anywhere. Everywhere has become an office. And that is not healthy for us, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why do we say stress is attached to work-life imbalance? If you don't draw a clear line between work and life outside work, stress is one of the inevitable consequences. And stress is inevitable for every living human being. Every one of us must experience stress at some time or the other. Because when you perceive a threatening situation, the sympathetic nervous of your autonomic nervous system get activated, and stress is the outcome. And I want to tell us, the good news is that acute stress is not dangerous for anybody, because it's something we all experience from time to time. Acute stress is the one that come and go away. It's to help you, it's adaptive because it helps you cope with a dangerous situation. But when it lingers and remains in your system, it becomes toxic. It generates toxins in the body and hurts you. So that's where the problem lies. And one of the stress hormones that the body secretes as a result of prolonged stress is cortisol. Cortisol is good in the short run because it activated the fight or fight syndrome. The fight or fight syndrome is something that enables you to either run away from a danger or face that danger. That's why we call it fight or flight syndrome. It's either you are able to run away from it and avoid the danger or tackle the danger. And that's why if a lion or another potential danger comes into this auditorium now, God forbid, you see that people who ordinarily could not run will run like the best 100-meter runner. So the energy will come out of nowhere. What has happened to your body is that the stress hormone has been released to your system and the sympathetic nervous system has been activated. And that equips you to run away or to face the obvious danger. And the way our bodies are configured is such that after the danger has gone, after the dangers have been averted, your body is supposed to go back to normalcy. Homeostasis is supposed to be restored. And that's when the parasympathetic nervous system restores you to normalcy. But unfortunately, for people under prolonged stress, the parasympathetic nervous system loses its function. It fails to perform that function of restoring you to normalcy. And that's where it becomes very dangerous for the individual. And I want to say at this point that the Bible is complete. That verse in the Bible which says we are wonderfully and fearfully made is not an idle thing. Indeed, the human being is wonderfully and fearfully made. If you eat well, if you maintain a balance between work and other domains of your life, and you sleep well, sleep is very important, you eat well, you don't subject yourself to undue stress, you are indeed wonderfully and fearfully made. And most of the ailments and infections, ordinarily your body is built to be able to ward off those things, even without taking any drug. Common flus and other minor infections. Your body is built in such a way to ward off those things. It is because recently, Pastor Adeboye said for 40 years he had not taken drugs. Initially, when you hear that statement, you may say, how possible? It's not possible. But I tell you, it is possible if you live right. We are indeed wonderfully and fearfully made. But you need to live right. One other ways in which stress compromises our well-being is through the depletion of our immune system. There's a fledgling field of research and practice now called psychoneuroimmunology. This field of study investigates the link between the nervous system and the immune system. And it has been found, it has been proved beyond equivocation that when you are under intense stress, your immune system gets weakened, making you more vulnerable to infections and diseases and the rest of them. So it's only in your own interest, ladies and gentlemen, to avoid stress as much as possible. And different parts of the body are affected by stress. These include the brain and the nerves, muscles and joints, heart, the stomach, the pancreas, the intestines, and of course the reproductive system. And many of our clients, Mr. Vice Chancellor, that have come to us for intervention, especially those presenting with reproductive issues, with erectile dysfunctions and the rest of them. What we have found consistently is that stress is at the core of it. That's what we have found over the years, that if you could take care of stress, most cases of erectile dysfunction will be taken care of. That's what has been my experience over these years, that most couples, especially men, presenting with erectile dysfunction, which you call it impotence. We don't call it impotence, it's erectile dysfunction. Most cases of that can be attributed to stress. And if you're able to take care of stress, you are able to help the individual. Now, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, what are the features of a fragile society? Because in the topic, I made allusion to the fact that the society, our society, is a fragile one. I want to demonstrate that very briefly. A fragile society is one where governance, stability, and social cohesion are undermined by weak institutions and persistent inequalities. And these are characterized by weak governance and weak state capacity, inequality and exclusion, conflict and violence, social fragmentation, and vulnerability to shocks. You will agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, that all these things are present in Nigeria. And it is my submission, Mr. Vice Chancellor, that Nigeria meets the criteria for a fragile society. And I also want to say that theme of THANATOS, as we have in Nigeria, coupled with being a fragile society, represents double jeopardy. It represents double jeopardy, and we have to do something about this, very urgently too. And Nigeria's challenge, ladies and gentlemen, is not lack of resources or expertise. This we all know. But the mindset of policymakers and implementers, that is our major problem in Nigeria. We know over the years that we have the best doctors, the best engineers, the best scientists. When our people leave the shores of Nigeria, they excel. Even the weak ones, when they live out there, they excel and they become the best. So that tells you that the problem is not a dearth of availability of expertise, but rather behavioral or psychological issues. The problem is here. Nigerians are the best in the various areas of human endeavors, but the mindset we carry is a major problem. The real problem lies in behavioral and psychological dysfunctions that drive corruption, poor accountability, and weak national values. Psychologists, particularly clinical and applied psychologists, remain grossly underutilized in policy, in governance, and in development. And it's unfortunate. Of course, we don't have too many, but even the few available ones are grossly underutilized. And that's where I'm going to, Mr. Vice Chancellor, that we are not making the best, we are not making the most of even the few psychologists that we have in Nigeria. And that is not good enough. And why Nigeria needs behavioral doctors, other key functions of clinical psychologists are listed. Why Nigeria needs behavioral doctor is that psychology is central to human capital development and behavioral orientation. And I also want to put it across to you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that a correlation has been found between the availability and uptake of psychological services and overall national development. You may want to check that out. It has been found that the most developed countries of the world, the countries of the Western Europe and North America, are also the countries where psychology is most well developed and well utilized. Even in Africa, coming to Africa, the number one country in Africa is South Africa. And that also happens to be the only country where psychological services are well entrenched and well uptaken by the generality of the people. So that correlation is not spurious, my Vice Chancellor. It's something that has been established beyond equivocation, that the most advanced countries of the world are also the ones that have realized the importance of psychology or behavioral issues in shaping national development. Before I conclude, Mr. Chairman, I want to highlight a few areas of my interventions. I'll just highlight a few ones where I have this past 2 decades plus that have made my intervention by way of teaching, research, practice, advocacy, and policy. Apart from teaching and research, which is my primary function over the past 23 unbroken years, my students can attest to that. I love them and they love my lectures. Don't you, my students? Yes. So, thank you. So, even while I'm involved in these other duties, my Vice Chancellor, I have not abdicated my responsibility. In addiction research, of my over 140 publications, more than 85 of them have been published on addiction, either drug addiction or behavioral addiction alone. So I've done a lot by way of research, addiction research. And also I've played critical roles in shaping national policy as a member of the 2017 and currently the ongoing National Drug Use Survey. Before 2017, we didn't have a national drug use record or data in Nigeria. But thank God for United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. They came and they put some money on the table and selected researchers from across Nigeria, drug researchers from across Nigeria, and I'm privileged to be one of them. The study was concluded in 2018. And another one is going on as we speak. Commenced in 2014 because it should be a periodic one so that we can compare results. So I have played a very key role in that as a deputy national principal investigator on that National Drug Use Survey. I've also been an advocate, a strident advocate of paradigm shift across many issues, especially the one that has to do with seeing addiction as a disease of the family rather than seeing it as a family disease. Many who ask me, what's the difference? Are they not the same? But I tell you, they are not the same. Seeing addiction as a family disease is narrow and reductionistic. But from what we know, from available evidence, addiction is a disease of the family because it affects the whole family unit and requires the biopsychosocial intervention, not just detoxification. Before now, people thought that detoxification does the job, that when you want to treat an addicted somebody with a drug use disorder, you just do detox and the person is good to go. But now we know that that's not the end of the story. We now know that even after the last traces of that drug has left the system, because detox is just the practice of removing the drug from the system and preventing withdrawal syndrome from making sure that the individual does not suffer from withdrawal syndrome. But we now know that even after doing that, the problem of addiction still remains. So that tells us that detox alone cannot do the job. So it goes beyond mere biological factors. So we have to apply the biopsychosocial factor in order to have a robust explanation and a robust intervention as far as this addiction is concerned. I've been at the forefront of this and will continue to advocate for this. Unfortunately, this approach is gaining traction now, as we see in most of our tertiary institutions that you now have psychological units that provide psychological service to not just people with addiction problem, but with other mental health and other problems. I've also been at the forefront of demonstrating that addiction is drug-induced neuroplasticity. It's very common for us to say that people with drug use problem are weak, they are morally weak, or they are wicked, or why can't they just get out of it and stop using it? But I tell you, Mr. Chairman, it goes beyond that. And the reason is that the various centers of the brain that regulates emotion, that regulate motivation, that regulate inhibition, and the reward system have been compromised by drug. That is the stuff. So the individual becomes more or less helpless. So it's useless blaming the individual with drug addiction. Rather, we should help them. The brain has acquired different types of learning, and the individual has become helpless. So that is the way to go. That is the evidence-based submission today. The various areas of the brain I earlier mentioned are displayed. The area of the brain that regulates inhibition, the one that regulates reward, and that's why somebody who is onto drug will not even mind not eating for days. Just give the drug, and he or she is good to go. They don't care about food, even money. We did a study with colleagues in the UK, and we found that even money, which used to be a common motivator for almost every human being, loses that motivational salience. That people would rather go for drug rather than taking your money if they are not sure that the drug is coming. So it's as bad as that. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I've also been an advocate of thinking globally and acting locally. Before now, it's very common for us to import foreign interventions, models, theories, and other things, wholesale, without bothering to know whether those things are well suited to our social peculiarities here. So I've been a stringent advocate of that, and it is gaining traction now. And some of the ways through which I've played a role in this is that we need to, by promoting contextualized and evidence-based interventions, by leading campaigns for mental health normalization and destigmatization, and by ensuring inclusive and community-based mental health system. Also, another way that I have been part of this, I didn't establish this model. This model has been in existence since 1977. It was developed by the man called Engel. But unfortunately, in Nigeria and in many parts of the world, the model is not being applied. And the model is to the effect that the most robust explanation and intervention for any mental health problem generally, and addiction in particular, is not to see it as a biological problem only, but to also look at the associated psychological and social factors to that problem. And also the 4 models have been shown to be the most expedient in mental health and addiction by looking at the predisposing factors, those vulnerabilities and liabilities that we carry, some of them from our parents, some of these are genetic predisposition, and the rest of them, we all have them. And then, of course, the precipitating factors that tend to wake up those predispositions, and then the perpetuating factors, which are environmental factors that maintain those problems. Unfortunately, every individual also has protective factors. So it's not all negative. No matter how bad an individual is, there are always factors, if you look well. And that's one of the things that we do as psychologists. We don't throw away anybody, no matter how bad the situation is. We try to examine the protective factors around that individual so that we can help such an individual. So that's the beauty of the 4P models of mental health and addiction. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, another intervention that I've been deeply involved in is the contextualization and application of the MH-GAP. MH-GAP is a World Health Organization program. The full meaning is Mental Health Gap Action Program. And it is brought about by the fact that there's a huge shortfall between supply and demand for mental health services globally, especially so in Nigeria. It may interest you, my Vice Chancellor, sir, that there are only about 300 psychiatrists in the whole of Nigeria. And this includes those who are dead on their register, including the ones that are dead and the ones that are alive, the ones that have JAPA, everything put together, about 300, for a population of over 200 million. That is totally unacceptable. And for clinical psychologists, there are about 800 or thereabout. I can tell that as the immediate past president, I have the record. I know that we have about 800 or thereabout, and most of them are also not here due to the JAPA syndrome. So the essence of the MH-GAP is to train non-specialists. Because if we say this limited number of mental health professionals should continue to do the job, there will be problems. And many people who need services will not get those services. So it's a method of task shifting some of the tasks to non-specialists. Of course, they will refer when it becomes a more problematic problem. We are not training them to be experts, but we are training them to be able to do some rudimentary aspect of mental health intervention and then refer when it is beyond their capacity. And it has been working, Mr. Chairman. I've been involved in training nurses, general medical doctors, community health workers, and other non-specialists across Nigeria. That's one of the things we did before we could start implementing the MH-GAP. We had to train them first. So I've been involved in that. In addition, I've been involved in contextualizing the MH-GAP for use in Nigerian context. Because the development of the MH-GAP consisted of Caucasian-heavy experts. Most of the members were Caucasian, and their cultural, their context, their social context are totally different from ours. So if we had brought it in like that, it would have been of little or no use for us. So the need to contextualize arose. And by the grace of God, I happen to be one of the few people that were called upon to contextualize this MH-GAP for Nigerian use. And we thank God that it's currently in use today. Again, another area of my intervention is advocacy for decriminalization of attempted suicide in Nigeria. In Nigeria today, ladies and gentlemen, if a man or a woman attempts to kill himself or herself and fails, such an individual will be arrested and jailed. For us, it doesn't make much sense because we know from evidence that people don't just wake up one day and say, I want to kill myself. There are underlying issues, psychological, social issues that are there. So when you criminalize, have you helped the person? You have not helped the individual. You allow the person to carry that problem into the prison. The problem remains unsolved. And that has been the trend in Nigeria. No thanks to the Lunacy Act that we still use. The Lunacy Act was established in 1958 by the colonialists. The colonialists that foisted that on us, they have since gone back to their countries and changed it. But in Nigeria, we are still using the provisions of the Lunacy Act. And it is the Lunacy Act that prescribes that punishment for everybody, everyone who tries to kill himself or herself and fails. In other words, what we are telling them is that, oh boy, next time, make sure you succeed. Make sure you kill yourself, because if you fail, you go to jail. For us, it doesn't make sense. And we are in the advocacy of doing that. And it is in recognition of this that the Federal Minister of Health and Social Welfare appointed me and 14 other people nationwide to constitute a task force on decriminalization of suicide attempt in Nigeria. And I'm happy to inform you, Mr. Chairman, sir, ladies and gentlemen, that we work assiduously towards achieving this aim, and we now have a bill before the National Assembly. In fact, it has gone through the first reading and second reading in the House of Reps. And any moment from now, it will go to the Senate for concurrence, and we are optimistic that Mr. President will assent to that bill in not so distant future, because an executive, it was initiated by the executive, so we believe that it will be accelerated, and then will be removed from these unjust 25 countries globally that have refused to see attempted criminal suicide as a problem that the people involved should be helped rather than criminalized. The same thing goes for criminalization of mental health, criminalization of drug use, and the rest of them. We intend to have a penchant for criminalizing behavior that should ordinarily be modified in Nigeria. Even drug use. When you lock up drug users in prison, what have you achieved? With due respect, Mr. Chairman, we also know that the people, the workers in the prison, often give them these drugs. So you are not helping the individual. This is off record, but this is what we know. That these people continue to use these drugs, even when they are incarcerated. So what have you achieved if you merely lock them up? So the approach that has been shown to work globally is that we should treat. We should treat. It's not just sufficient to see them as criminals, but let's also see them as patients that need intervention. Because like I said earlier on, they have lost it here. The various parts of the brain that could have helped them to stop or to say, don't do, they have lost it. So by criminalizing, you are not achieving anything. So I've been at the forefront of that, Mr. Chairman. And finally, here in Uyo, we have also, me and my team, my PhD student, we have also translated and cross-validated some widely used instruments to Ibibio language. Particularly, we did that for Ethnic Personality Questionnaire Revised, and we did it for Beck Depression Inventory. These are some of the most widely used psychological instruments in the world. And we realized that we are not doing ourselves a favor by just using it as presented by the... So me and my team, we work very hard, and by the grace of God today, we have those instruments, not just contextualized for Nigerian use, but we brought it down all the way to Ibibio language. Finally, I have been involved in harm reduction intervention. Harm reduction is all about reducing associated harm to a behavior. Most problematic behavior carries some extra baggage different from that primary behavior. We call them secondary problem behavior. So what we do in harm reduction is that while we are trying to solve that primary problem, we minimize the chances that the individual will have those secondary problems. For instance, addiction, tobacco smoking is a leading cause of cancer. Over 250 types of carcinogenic elements have been found in tobacco, in cigarettes. Over 200 cancer-causing elements are found in tobacco, yet people continue to smoke. So when we want to help people stop smoking, realizing that for many people, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Many smokers actually want to stop. But like I said, they have lost it here. They could not control it anymore, even when they wanted to. So what we do is that instead of allowing them to continue to smoke while they are in treatment, we provide an alternative such as nicotine replacement therapy. It could be in form of nicotine patch, nicotine gum, nicotine lozenges, and other things like that will administer nicotine into their system without smoking. In other words, the problem of addiction is still there. We are trying to solve it, but the individual will not have cancer. That's the good news. We are preventing problems that are associated with smoking while we are dealing with the smoking itself. Also, for drug users, for injecting drug users, the most problematic method of use of drug globally is injecting drug users. Those who inject directly into their veins, either cocaine, heroin, amphetamine, and the rest of them, when they inject directly into their veins. And one common phenomenon among them is that they share their needles. They share needles, syringes, and other paraphernalia of use. And therefore, globally, this group of people have the highest HIV prevalence globally, not in Nigeria. Injected drug users. That's where you find the highest prevalence of HIV, AIDS, and hepatitis globally, Nigeria inclusive. So what do? While we are helping them deal with their injecting drug use, we discourage the use of sharing needles, because that's how they got infected with HIV and other infections. So they should not share needles. When you see some NGOs giving needles to injecting drug users, Nigerians, I know we love Christ so much, and we are highly religious people. People condemn them that, oh, you want to encourage them to be using drugs. That's not the idea. The idea is that while we are helping them to do away with the drug use, let them not come and have HIV, AIDS, or hepatitis. That's the idea. So we prevent the sharing of needles so that they will not get infected. And when people give condoms to hotels, we readily condemn them. We say they are promoting promiscuous behavior. That is not the understanding. The understanding is that if you must be involved in sexual work, then you don't also need to get HIV, AIDS, or other infections. Therefore, use condom while we are working on you to try to leave that line of occupation. So that's the idea, and it is called harm reduction strategy in behavioral issues in Nigeria. And I've been a leading proponent of this, and we are working seriously to do this. Initially, when we started this, we were subjected to serious condemnation. We were called names and all of that, but we didn't relent. And today it is yielding results. And it's one of the reasons the HIV seroprevalence rate is dropping drastically in Nigeria. And by the grace of God, it will continue to drop until we get to a zero prevalence rate. In final conclusion, my dear Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I submit that Nigeria's major problems are psychological and behavioral. It is also my considered view, ladies and gentlemen, that clinical psychologists are vital in mitigating self-destructive tendencies. I'm a global thinker and local actor. So I want to start from our university, sir. Mr. Vice Chancellor, we need a psychological center in University of Uyo. Staff and students will benefit so much from this. So many universities in Nigeria have this, and they are benefiting maximally there. Staff, students, even people come from outside to benefit. But we don't have one in Nigeria. I recall a few weeks ago, a matter came up here concerning assessment of a student for bipolar disorder, and I was in the corner there. I tried to speak, but I couldn't make my comment. That the right people to make that diagnosis were not the people that make the diagnosis. With due respect to them. So the right people to make such diagnosis and provide interventions are the psychiatrists and clinical psychologists. But unfortunately, in our health centers, we don't even have any. We don't have any. So we are underutilizing even the available fields. We say there are 800 or thereabout nationally. That's unreasonably too scanty. But even those ones, we are underutilizing them. And that's the kernel of my topic today. And then I believe that strengthening early childhood intervention by parents, teachers, and faith leaders will go a long way in helping. And there's also a need to integrate psychological principles into governance and policy. And my final message, Mr. Chairman, is that to heal Nigeria, we must heal the mind. The problem is with our mind, is with behavior. We don't have a problem as a country. We are blessed with everything, human and whatever. We are so blessed. But the problem is this. Something seems to be wrong here. We do respect for all of us. And we need to do something about it. And the people that can help in that regard are psychologists. But unfortunately, they are being grossly underleveraged. Finally, my dear Vice Chancellor, I cannot but appreciate you and your wonderful team again for permitting me to deliver this 122nd Inaugural Lecture of a great university. And I want to end on a note of thanks to the God Almighty who makes everything right in His time. I return all the glory to God for the grace to be the 122nd Inaugural Lecturer of a great university. I thank you and everyone here present for your attention. And I also appreciate everyone who has contributed in one way or the other to the reality of today. And I want to sing finally, all the glory must be to the Lord, for He is worthy of our praise. No man on earth should give glory to himself. All the glory must be to the Lord, to the Lord. All the glory must be to the Lord, for He is worthy of our praise. No man on earth should give glory to himself. All the glory must be to the Lord. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor.
Please, can we celebrate the lecturer? It's a presentation of your lecture to the Vice Chancellor. Thank you very much. You may please take seats.
My dear Vice Chancellor, sir, I present to you the 122nd Inaugural Lecture of a great university to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The VC in return will please present the commemorative award to the 122nd Inaugural Lecturer, the VC, sir.
Our very dear Professor Gboyega Abikoye, you have really discharged yourself and acquitted yourself. If nothing else, you have made us to know that there should be third option for somebody who's contemplating suicide. That's what you have said. And you said you have also advised us that if you are contemplating and you want to attempt and die. And that if you don't die, then you find yourself in jail. That's what you have said. And then you are also putting forward a third option, that they should listen to the person. I pray that the person should be alive so that he'll be listened to. All right. On behalf of myself, the management, and the entire University of York community, and our friends who have come from far and near, it is my pleasure to present this to you, Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye, as the 122nd Inaugural Lecturer of our great university. This memorial is to remind you on a daily basis of this special day of yours. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Can we celebrate the 122nd Inaugural Lecturer, Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Akiboye. Celebrate and celebrate and celebrate. In the same vein, please let's have the faculty make that presentation. The Dean.
Thank you, the Vice Chancellor, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the 122nd University-wide, first departmental-wise. It is the pleasure of the faculty to make this presentation, not because it is heavy, but because it is unique. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. The department, head of department.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. I want to say that the Vice Chancellor has made their department very great in many ways. But let me tell us that Professor Abikoye has been a pride of our department. Please, your hands are not too busy. Put them together as you appreciate him. So I present this award of honor to you, Professor Abikoye, as a first inaugural lecturer of our department. We feel most honored, sir. And then we also have this to add for you. Please bring it immediately, sir. Please bring this immediately to me. As a memorial, in addition to whatever you see. Thank you so much. We are proud of you, sir. Thank you.
Please, can we celebrate the Dean and the head of department of the 122nd Inaugural Lecturer? Thank you so very much for this wonderful gestures. The Vice Chancellors are very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A fantastic presentation that was talking about the 122nd lecture, as was presented by the lecturer. With the loudest ovation, can we please celebrate Professor Gboyega Akiboye? Give it up and give it up. Make it louder. Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thanks so very much. We thank you for a wonderful lecture. The Vice Chancellors are very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My honor to invite our dear Vice Chancellor to please offer his remarks. The VC, sir.
Still standing on the system protocol, I want to thank God specially for giving us a very significant gift. When I mean us, University of Uyo and the humanity in general. And what's that gift? And with that gift is a gift of Gboyega Abikoye to humanity. The lecture binding assessment is excellent. It's excellent. So we are happy to have you as our own. Now we get you. That's what I'm saying. You have done well. You know, when we started, I told you that there could be physics and biology in this thing, the way it's going. Now, by the time we finish, you agree with me that there was biology, there was physics, there was chemistry, there was social content. What do you not see in this matter? So thank you very much. He has counseled us very well. Thank you for counseling us and for not looking for money in the course of counseling. You know, this is when they counsel, they look for money. But he has given it free of charge. There is something called stress. At times it could be acute. At times it can be chronic. But whatever it is, whether acute or chronic, run away from it. From now on, because I don't sleep before 2 a.m. Now from now on, I'm going to run away from whether I don't know that one is whether it's acute or chronic. Is it acute or chronic? Whatever it is, I'll run away from yes, because it is true that we have really labored over here. And he has told us there is that imbalance between work and life. That's what he has said. Is it not so? So my advice to all of us is, as you work, try to accomplish what you have lined up for the day. Listen to yourself. Don't wait until you hear crack. and you start running away. You know, they say, am I right? Don't wait for that moment. I know God will guide us. You know, so I want to thank God once again for my good friend, our brother, for discharging himself, confirming the fact that his announcement as a professor wasn't on the sympathy grounds, but that actually he deserved it. Put your hands together for him. Yes. Yes. In University of Uyo, we have inaugural lecture and we take it very serious. It has a prominent place in the calendar of our great university. And so many of us have had the opportunity of presenting. That's why we now have him as 122nd. That means there was first, there was second, there was third. Am I right? And so if you know you are here and truly you have joined the league of past inaugural lecturers, the league of inaugural lecturers, if you are here, can I see you? Can you rise and take a bow? Let me see you. Yes. Can you take a bow? Want to go? Can you take a bow again? Want to go? And for the last time, 1, 2, go. Put your hands together for them. Yes, you can warm your seat. You see, in the course of asking that they should take a bow, I also took a bow. Isn't it also? So that you will not say, I took a bow like this. All right. We were having another inaugural lecture on the 27th of this month. You know, it's a bi-weekly event, bi-weekly tonic, bi-weekly lecture. So I would announce to you, not now, not yet, not today, the next inaugural lecturer. All you need to do that on the 27th of November, not December, 27th of what? November, where in this arena, there will be a 123rd inaugural lecture. So please, town, we are preparing for you. We are waiting for you. Please come and join us. Don't be tired of us because we are not tired of seeing you. May God bless all of us in the name of Jesus Christ.
The Vice Chancellor, sir, members of the High Table, members of Senate, our guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to do a very short recognition of personalities who have caused this occasion to be as colorful as we can see. I would like to introduce I would like to introduce the managers, the administrators of the University of Uyo first. And then I will introduce some of our guests that we have in our midst. I want to again introduce to us the chairman of this occasion and the vice chancellor of this institution, who has been piloting the affairs of this university very well in all aspects of the university life. He is the first alumnus to be our vice chancellor, and he has done it as for himself, his institution. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to applaud as I recognize our dear Vice Chancellor, the 8th substantive Vice Chancellor, University of Uyo, Professor Nyaudoh Ndaeyo. Please do it better than that. Thank you very much. That is our Vice Chancellor. We are proud of him. Let me introduce to us some of the principal officers that have been working with him. First is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Anekan Ofyong from the Faculty of Engineering. Thank you, sir. We have the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Professor of Sociology of Religion, Professor Antonia Essien. We have the 801 of the university, as the Vice Chancellor calls her. I'm talking about the Registrar and Secretary to Senate, Mrs. Blossom Okoria. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the registrar, the lecturer referred to as the one that will first of all welcome you with smiles. Let me recognize the acting university librarian, Professor Mary Bassey. Let me recognize the dean that is the happiest dean, the host dean, a professor of criminology, Professor Aneka S. Brown. Somebody introduced the lecturer. Without that, we wouldn't have known him. He is of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, Professor of Rural Sociology, Professor Sunday Edem Afam, Prof. Professor Afam is a one-time aspirant to the gubernatorial position in this state, so I call him His Excellency. Your Excellency. Yes. I preserve the big masquerade for now. The man that gathered all of us to this place. But let me just recognize him. Because of him, we are all gathered. He's I don't know, he's a down-to-earth gentleman, professor who has all his academic background at the University of Ibadan. Professor Gboyega Emmanuel Abikoye, Professor of Clinical Psychology. A better round of applause. He is the 122nd Inaugural Lecturer. He is from a royal household. Yes. You're welcome. Now, let me recognize Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the chairman of the Committee of Deans of this university, Professor Diana Basi Etuwem, Prof. Let me recognize some of the deans of faculties that are here. I will mention the names, but I will be very fast about that. We have the Dean Postgraduate School, Professor Ken Opara. Professor Opara is the Alumni Association president, the Alumni Association, University of Ibadan in Akwa Ibom State. You are the president. Again, let's clap for Professor Opara. And for that reason, all members of the University of Ibadan Alumni Association in Akwa Ibom State, please rise and take a bow. You need to give a better clap because the Vice Chancellor is involved. You see? We also have in the house the Dean of the Faculty of the Vice Chancellor, Faculty of Agriculture, Professor Effiong. You better clap well. That's the Vice Chancellor's team. knowing your time as dean, if you produce a vice chancellor, you can go and relax. We have the dean of pharmacy, Professor Grace Essien, Dean Pharmacy. Let me recognize the presence of the Dean, Faculty of Vocational Education, Library and Information Science, unbundled from the Faculty of Education, Professor Nsene Akpan. Professor Akpan sat close to the mother, the Dean, Faculty of Education, Professor Emma. You see, mother and child, they sat together. And let me recognize the administrator, Senate Unit, Deputy Registrar, Mr. Kingsley Achebam. The Dean, Faculty of Environmental Studies is Professor Anthony Ujene. Professor Ujene, he was here, and all other professors and heads of departments here seated. May I recognize still some members of the governing council who have graced this occasion. One is Professor Solomon, Professor Solomon of the Department of Animal Science. We recognize you, and we equally recognize Professor Sekan Senam, the Department of Faculty of Media Studies, Communication and Media Studies. Welcome. And by that recognition, I seek the permission of the Vice Chancellor and Chairman of Senate to request that all Senate members here present should rise and take a bow. The honorable members of Senate, many scholars, different fields of specialization, intellectuals, the makers and the builders of human capacity, not just for Nigeria, but the entire world. Please take a bow. Please clap better than that. Before you become a doctor, you pass through Senate. Before you become anything, you pass through Senate. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me recognize one of us from the Faculty of Social Sciences who should be a father or grandfather of that faculty, Professor Innocent Modo, Prof. Does he not deserve to be a grandfather of the faculty? Indeed, a grandfather indeed. Let me recognize one of the persons that brought our inaugural lecturer to the University of Uyo, Professor Isidore S. Obut. Professor Obut? Prof. I used to see Prof in the 2000 and something. Prof, nice to see you again. Welcome. We also have Honorable Justice Teresa Obut of Akwa Ibom State Judiciary and the wife of Professor Obut. Your Lordship, welcome. We have in the house the supervisor, the mentor, and the one who until today still gives the inaugural lecturer a recharge card. A lady of substance in the house, very powerful professor, the University of Ibadan, Professor Helen Ashinawo. Thank you, Prof, for making it to this occasion. We are blessed to have you. Let me say that we have the managers of our sister institution. They are here. The Vice Chancellor, Ritman University, Akwa Ibom State, Professor Akan Williams. Prof. Yes. Prof had taken one of us, our former director training, who is now the registrar of that university, Mrs. Faith Emmanuel. Let me recognize Professor Isaac Ayandele. Prof, you've been here. Prof is the former chairman committee of deans, is the current chairman committee of provosts at the Federal University of Technology. He is also of academic planning at that university. He is the friend of He is a friend of the Vice Chancellor. Prof, you're welcome. We have the man who integrates this university with the host community. Otherwise, it may be the other way. Mr. Vonabasi Isaiah Esquire. I think I can spot our former CMAC, Professor Notich. Are you there? Are you the one? Oh, please clap for Professor Notich. You're welcome. We have members of the family of the inaugural lecturer. I want to begin with the children. We have them, Tony, Tolu, and Twan. I want to know who is Twan, Tola, and Tony. Now, Abikoye Oluwa Tony, where are you? Take a bow. Tony, you didn't smile. Smile and take a bow. Thank you very much. Thank you. Abikoye Metola. Who is Tola? You, the prince. Oh, prince. And that's a princess. 3 times. You did only twice. You clap well, or tomorrow he may be the Oba. Who knows? That's a prince. And then we have Abikoye Opeyemi. Take a bow. Okay. Quite different. Opeyemi is quite different from the rest. Thank you very much. Who is Abikoye Adetutu? Okay, madam, the wife. Oh. Well, please step forward. Your duty is more serious. We start there. Your husband belongs to the Senate. He was promoted by the Senate high power, and he belongs to the university community. So you take a bow at the Senate high power, facing the Vice Chancellor. One, go. Face the colleagues of your husband. Take a good bow. And to the entire university, however you can, take a bow. Please clap for the woman. She has tried. Yes. Thank you. Please listen to the following announcement. From here, Senate will recess to the front of the building, and there will be a lot of photograph taking there. So if you've never snapped with an inaugural lecturer, you have opportunity today. 2, tomorrow as early as 8 a.m., there will be a mock Senate and commendation service. There will be a mock Senate and commendation service in honor of our former Deputy Vice Chancellor, let Professor Etienne Essien, OON. Professor Etienne Essien was Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo, was a pioneer dean, Faculty of Pharmacy, and at one time served as the Secretary to the State Government in Akwa Ibom. He was a Lagos-based lecturer in the University of Lagos, Lagos State University, University of Benin, everywhere. He is the pioneer of pharmacy in Nigeria. He will be given commendation service tomorrow by 8 a.m. after the mock Senate. So please, all members of Senate, members of faculty, friends, colleagues, and the entire university community, you are invited. Please keep a date with this event on the 24th of November 2025. In this hall, we will have the 5th Distinguished Registry Annual Lecture. During that lecture, it will feature the presentation on a topic, Nigerian Tax Reform Act 2025. The implication on the university system, the way forward. You transfer money, you are taxed. You receive, you are taxed. You deposit, you are taxed. Come and understand the implication. It will be presented by a specialist who is a chartered forensic accountant and tax practitioner, Mr. Ifyok Okon-Udo. The event will also feature a special celebration of the end of tenure of our current Vice Chancellor by members of the registry of this university. So on Monday, 24th November, you are all invited to be here by 10 a.m. With that announcement, please, we listen to our Deputy Vice Chancellor for the vote of thanks, and we'll be out of here. Yes, tomorrow here, then by 10 a.m., all members of staff on this particular campus, the main campus, will be here to have interactive meeting with the Vice Chancellor. A similar meeting was held today for those at the other campuses. We run a multi-campus system. So here, for all members of staff in this campus, we meet here for interaction with the Vice Chancellor tomorrow here, 10 a.m. Thank you. Deputy Vice Chancellor, please vote of thanks. DVC Academic.
Amiable Vice Chancellor, Professor Ndaeyo, let me stand on the protocol that has been very carefully established at the beginning of this inaugural lecture. I'd like to begin by thanking God so very much for the gift of Professor Abikoye to our university. God has used him immensely to do a lot for our university. I can personally testify to a number of people he has helped. People who would have committed suicide in this university, sir. He has done so very much. So we are very grateful to God for bringing him to us and for what he has done for us. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, sir, for what you add to us, for your gift also to the university. We will really miss you, sir, when you leave, because today we've listened to our colleagues narrate all the good things you do for this university, and I can only say God bless you, sir. Let me thank all those that work very closely with you, sir. Amiable Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Aneka Nofyong, our Registrar and Secretary to Senate, Mrs. Blossom Okore, our acting university librarian, Dr. Mrs. Mary Mfonbasi, and our amiable acting boss, Mrs. Foneto, who is unavoidably absent because she is working for us. Professor Abikoye, I want to thank you so very much for this lecture you have presented to us today. We are very grateful to you for this profound inspiration derived from your captivating lecture titled Themes of THANATOS in the Fragile Society, the Behavior Doctor as an Under-Leveraged TONIC. Thank you very much, Professor Abikoye, for exploring the interplay between destructive forces of THANATOS and the potential offered behavioral science to act as a remedy to a fragile society. We thank you for shedding light on self-destructive tendencies. And today, I think many of us have learned a lot from this lecture. But very importantly, a lot of people have been thinking of how to fix Nigeria well. And today, you have taught all of us that to heal Nigeria, our minds also must be healed. So thank you very much. I'm sure we'll take that home. Everybody will take that home, that our mind also must be healed so that we can reason properly and do what we are supposed to do for the good of our country. Finally, I want to thank you for presenting the behavior doctor, the psychologist, as the needed tonic to turn around the fortunes of a fragile society. We truly appreciate it, and we ask God to bless you immensely. I also wish to express my sincere appreciation to Professor Sonny Ofon for doing the presentation of the inaugural lecture so very well. Thank you. Let me also thank the Dean of the Faculty of Social Science, Professor Adekan Brown, for holding forth in the faculty and making the faculty what it is, a faculty that the university is truly proud of. Permit me to thank all the members of Senate. For want of time, I would not be able to list people one by one. I thank all the professors, but let me thank in a special way the chairman of the Committee of Deans, Professor Dianabasi Eduwem. I express very sincere thanks to all heads of departments of this institution. And I thank especially the head of Department of Psychology, where our inaugural lecturer belongs, Dr. Mfon Ineme. Thank you very much for holding the department so very well. I wish to thank especially every member of the family of the inaugural lecturer, the wife and children, the friends of our inaugural lecturer, and all who have come from far and near to support our inaugural lecturer. I thank the members of his church and all who have supported him so very well. I thank also the friends of our universities that have come to grace this occasion. We are very happy to have a Vice Chancellor of Rigma University and the Registrar, who is our very own. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma, for coming. I thank all those that helped Professor Abikoye to put this event together. For those of us who have done it, we know what it is, that a lot of hands have to be on ground to help. So thank you so very much. Let me thank the alumni of UI for the support, for being here. We are all there. The Vice Chancellor is a member. I'm also a member, so I'm very happy to see all of you coming. Yes, thank you very much for coming to support our own. I thank the head of department of music and the students for always being here for us. Of the greatest Nigerian students, thank you very much for coming to support your lecturer, our professor. and for everybody that has spent time to be here today. I thank you so very sincerely, and I ask God to bless you and lead you back safely to your different destination in Jesus' name.
Please, can we celebrate the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic for that wonderful vote of thanks. Thanks so very much. Please, before we take the closing formalities, the VCs, permit me to please acknowledge the Yoruba community in Akwa Ibom State who are here. We celebrate you. Please, where are you? Sars and Mars. Please, can we celebrate them? Thank you, and thanks so very much. Thanks for being a part of this event. And in the same vein, Christian Men Fellowship of All Saints Cathedral. Please, where are you? Thank you, and thanks so very much. We celebrate you, sirs. Thank you. The Vice Chancellors are very distinguished. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the 122nd Inaugural Lecture. To God alone be all the glory and blessing to the humanity, as we please rise and take our anthems in the reverse order. Thank you very much. Still at rest, as I please invite the Vice Chancellor of Ritman College to please step forward and say the closing prayer. The VC, sir.
Praise the Lord. I didn't know how you knew I'm a pastor. Can we pray? Father, thank you for the success of this 122nd Inaugural Lecture of the University of Uyo. Thank you for you gave the utterance to the speaker. Thank you for the great tidings you are having from this university. Thank you for the leadership and the management of this university. Thank you for we shall yet come back here to celebrate another inaugural lecture. As we go to our different destinations, we ask for that grace that comes from you to take us safely to our destinations in Jesus' name. For in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed.
Thank you very much. We shall please remain standing as the Vice Chancellor and members of the management team please lead in the recession, followed by members of the Senate, Music Department. Thank you so very much. We've come to the end of the 122nd Inaugural Lecture of the prestigious University of Uyo, one of the Nigeria's finest and best universities, an institution where excellence meets class and standard and preparation opportunities anytime, any day. Thanks so very much for being a part of this great event. Thank you for always being there for us. Thank you, members of the distinguished Senate of this great university. Thank you for coming out in your numbers. We celebrate you. I celebrate Prof. You're welcome. I celebrate my HOD, Professor Wemington.